Winners, day 1 of week 3 of the OPL. My name is Michael Hingising, and I'm joined here by Choo Cheese and Tigun at the analyst desk. How you both doing? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a new day for you. It's a new shirt I've seen you picked up.
It has been a long time.
Yeah, it's a new day for everyone. It's true. Well, let me think of one time when it would not be a new day. No, time travel's not possible yet. But a beautiful shirt, and thank you for joining us here at the analyst desk. T-Gun, how are you feeling after last week?
Had to bring it up straight away.
Well, I'm just asking how you're doing.
Couldn't just ask how I'm feeling today.
Well, how are you feeling today, then?
Great
it's a new
today
day.
until now.
Okay. It's a pleasure to have your company, and also thank you at home for joining us. Let's take a look at the standings of the current OPL as we get straight into it, because we see Regicide and TM down the bottom of the table on 1 point apiece. Abyss there with 2 points. Sin Gaming then. And then we have an equal second between Legacy, Chiefs, and Avant-Garde, and Direwolves out in front on 5 points after 2 full weeks of the OPL. And of those three second place teams, what do you reckon? I mean, obviously you're going to say Legacy, but T-Gun, which one do you think is the strongest right now out of Chiefs, Legacy, and AV?
Right now, I'd have to give it to Chiefs, but not by a lot.
Well, we'll be seeing
You're kidding me, right?
we'll be seeing Chiefs playing
watch
later
last
on
week?
today.
Name one time Legacy have beat the Chiefs.
Oh, look, we're just opening
Show
up
me
old
one
wounds
VOD.
here. All
One
right.
VOD
One VOD.
in the break.
Also, today sees the competitive release of 7.12 for the OPL. So let's talk a little bit about these patch changes. I want to talk about Jin as an AD carry. We're going to be seeing the return of Jin in the bot lane. What do you guys
I'd
reckon?
really like to.
Yeah?
Jin is one of the few AD carries that has an engage tool. So you've got Varus, who is probably one of the best engagers in the game, but Jin also offers that kind of engage tool. So I think we may see it today.
I think when you mention engagers, you have to mention Ashe, especially with Blinky playing. I mean, he doesn't hit the arrows, but he damn well tries, okay?
Just throwing him out there.
But even though I do want to see things like Jin, I still think that teams will sort of go towards Xayah and Caitlyn. I prefer Xayah. I think it's the best ADC. I think that when you're able to let your ADC do whatever they want and not have to worry about them dying, it's a great thing, especially as a support. I don't have to worry about them just headbutting a wall. But, you know, Jin would be great, but depends on your team comp, in my opinion.
I think, yeah, Caitlyn and Xayah, in my opinion, are definitely tier 1 AD carries.
Yep.
Xayah, as you said, does take care of her does take care of herself quite well. Raze has proven that he can solo carry games. So that champion will probably be contested today, but I don't want to. I want to emphasize how strong I think Caitlyn still is, especially with the Rift Herald and the trap setup that she can put out. The Runan's Hurricane nerf to proc her passive was really big, but I don't think that necessarily takes away her strength in sieging.
Yeah? Do you want to let him sit with that? Caitlyn is the strongest AD carry. You want to have the final word on this, T-Gun?
It's a playstyle thing. It's a preference thing.
Okay.
I don't think you can sit there and say objectively one is better than the other.
All right.
I
can
prefer
respect
Xayah because I just don't think any of the OCDCs are really great at Caitlyn, whereas you can look at Raze and say he's really great at Xayah.
Well, people have been throwing bans at his Caitlyn as well, all split. Let's talk about Rek'Sai. He's received a couple of buffs, or sorry, she's received some buffs recently. Do you guys think we're going to see Rek'Sai play today?
I'd love to see Rek'Sai.
Yeah?
I'm a huge Rek'Sai fan.
I think that the champion is so different from its past iteration that even though we saw Juves play it previously, that won't factor into if he picks it today. I think that Sybil might pick it because you can play it very aggressively. You build AD items for the first 2 items, then you transition into sort of a second tank. But even then, there's better options.
Rek'Sai, yeah, he is a very, very different champion now. His ult is completely different. It does percentage missing health, which is flat. It's a flat amount. Doesn't mean you need to build AD to do damage anymore. So I would love to see Rek'Sai, and I know Juves played a lot of it during his gauntlet, so we may see that today.
All right, well, speaking of Juves, let's take a look at the schedule today, because the young man is going to be captaining Sin as their jungler in our game number 1, Sin taking on AV. Then, following that up, Regicide will have a difficult game ahead of them as they face the Chiefs. But let's talk about this first game, shall we? Sin, AV. We talked about Juves already. I want to talk about Docker as well. He's an import top laner. Sin seeming to favour these guys, but kind of like his predecessor in Flares, he's sort of struggling at the top of the split.
Underwhelming.
Underwhelming.
That's the easiest way to put it. It's just been underwhelming. He's there in the games, and you can rely on him to not feed. But when we think of how Flares did by the end of the season, he was the one dragging them across the line.
He definitely
especially
grinds it
on
up.
Fizz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the best top laner in Oz by the end of the last split, but
Yep.
Dr. Doppler has big shoes to fill. I do want to talk about the fact that he's a Jace player, he's a Fiora player. We saw his Jace last week, and I was impressed by it. Tegan, you were on the receiving end of it. How did you feel?
It didn't feel too spectacular. I'm going to go ahead and give all the credit to Ryoma playing Talia, just ruining us. It sounds kind of conceited to not give him the credit where it's due, right? But in those games, it felt like the big problem was Ryoma just being everywhere, being aggressive in all lanes. Whereas the Jace didn't feel like it was a thing that just sort of killed us. It was the Talia that just ended the game.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if AV give Doppler, Jace, or Fiora. He's still a very unknown character in the scene. People don't know, like people have been saying he's not that good, he's not as good as Flares, but then again, I think it's too early to make any assumptions.
All right, well, it is just week 3, so let's take a look at the Sin lineup right now, getting ready in the OPL studio, shall we? And there is Ryoma, who just spoke about then, being aggressive in all 3 lanes. Getting triggered by the whole thing. Let's go through their lineup, shall we? Their top laner is Doppler, the North American import. Played a lot of collegiate esports over there. Juves, doing his breathing exercises, I assume. Is their captain and jungler.
Having a snooze.
Their mid laner is Ryoma. Who's also having a bit of a yawn there.
Everyone's so tired.
This is not the fired up Sin we're used to seeing. Their AD carry is FBI, and their support player is Rogue, who was a bit of a threat on Thresh last week. He's known as Thresh. He did tweet out after the victory of Sin last week. He did tweet out, ban Thresh. Do you think AV need to ban Thresh today, Choo Choos?
No, give him Thresh and win, and then tell him to... I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
Don't kick someone when they're down.
Yeah, okay. Let's move on to their opponents across the rift. AV. Let's take a look at those guys getting ready now in the OPL studios. And shall we run through their lineup? Their top laner is Series. Their jungler is Sybil. Maybe he's where they're going to pop off today. Their mid laner is Triple. Very similar playstyle to Ryoma in many ways. Their AD carry is Blinky. And their support player is Jake. Kind of well known for his wide champion pool. I want to talk a bit about Blinky. We said he's been struggling a bit with those Ash arrows. Do you want to see him on a hyper carry today, or do you think he's going to go back to those sort of utility engage AD carries?
I think he's well at home on the utility carries.
I agree.
I do deride him a bit for his inaccuracy, but all it takes is one key thing to hit by mid to late game, and then it doesn't matter how many you've missed.
All right, well, bearing that all in mind, let's get your predictions then as we head into the game today. Choo Choos, who's going to win this? Who's going to win this, and by what margin?
2-1 AV, just because I think their last week's game against Legacy definitely brought up a lot of issues that I think they would have improved over the week.
All right, Tegan?
I'm going to go 2-0 AV.
2-0 AV.
Having played both the teams, all right, I feel like I have a better input than Choo Choos does. He might be a better player, but I've lost to both these teams. And AV...
Very good experience.
AV looked a lot stronger versus us, so I'm going to have to back them.
All right, let's take a look at your tips at home then, shall we? opltips.com.au. And a very even split there, but I will say just over 80% of people think this is going to be a 3-game series. So a fundamental disagreement with T-Gun there. I should note as well, there are prizes for the top 50, top 100, and top 250 winners or ranked people in the tipping competition. You're going to get some Uber Eats vouchers. And they are $100, $50, and $25. So there's a lot of money being spent on Uber Eats vouchers.
It's a lot of food.
It's it's great. So if you're be in this. It's good stuff. All right, that is enough from us here at the Analyst Desk. It is time for us to get into our first game of this week 3 of the OPL. So let's hand over to you casters.
Not quite sure who the caster. I think it's got cut off there. Apparently, there's really good stuff going on that desk here. I'm Matthew Fish Stewart. Joining me is Jake Spons over here.
Hello.
And we're about to get into the first match for today.
Yeah, we certainly are. It's going to be Sin taking on AV. So this will be an interesting first best of 3. You'd have to say that this is probably the match of the week, Fish, when you have a look at where these two teams finished in the gauntlet. However, I think that when you have a look at the changes that have happened on Sin versus what has happened now on Avant Gaming, you have to have them in at favourites. Yep. I mean, Juves underperformed last week, lost another game on Zach. Dockler doesn't look like he's gelled well with the team whatsoever, and really does look like it's up to the other 3 members right now to be able to carry through. Whereas AV, they're spreading the load a little bit more evenly. You'd have to say Blinky's underperforming, but it's 80 carries still in 2017. Who really cares?
And we kind of said the same thing about Sin and Avant last split, where Avant, when they picked up Sybil, we said they need time to work with their jungler, get to know him, and they've been able to do that. And we said the same thing about Sin, where they had flares, they had time to get to know him, work well with him. They did really well during the gauntlet with flares, and now they've shaken that all up with Dockler. So I agree with you completely. I feel like it's going to be AV definitely coming in as favourites, but still a lot of people expect this one to be a close match.
Yeah, and the thing about Blinky that I just want to hit on is the fact that he's playing a lot of Ashe and Varus still. And I feel like they're giving him less tools than, say, what a Chiefs or a Legacy are giving towards their 80 carry, maybe even someone like a Direwolves. Would love to be able to see him pick up something that he's much more comfortable on. You know, give him a Kalista, give him a Zaire game or something along those lines, and allow him to have a little bit more of a impact around the mid game. So often we just see the utility being thrown down into AEV's bottom lane, and I think that he needs to be given a little bit more of a lifeline than that.
Especially with Jake recently stepping up and playing a lot of carry-based supports. They could play a kill lane bottom lane or potentially protect Blinky.
I mean, my favorite team in the world at the moment, is, no surprise, is over in the LPL, is going to be the newbie lineup with LWX. And he was absolutely popping off. Cogmore, Twitches, Kallistas running around on Summoner's Rift. Other regions are starting to really play towards a hyper carry in bottom lane again. And I did like when Blinky was, you know, back in the day known for things like his Vayne.
Well, curious to see if he's going to pick up any of those champions. Caitlyn has been banned up by AV though, so we won't see Blinky on that one. And another very curious ban is Sin. They've banned Zach on blue side of Summoner's Rift. This is not the first time we've seen them do this.
No, it certainly is not, and I don't think it's going to be the last time. They don't like to play around the tanky jungler. They want pressure coming out of Juves, but at the same time, I mean, you've given up a Lee Sin ban as well as a Zach ban, given over a great counter matchup in Renekton into Galio, if that is top lane, and taken away Rogue's best champion. So far, AV are drafting very nicely.
Yeah, Rogue has gone publicly on Twitter and said, ban Thresh or I will win. Well, apparently if you take it away, that might change the situation in the bottom lane. Jake is known for his Thresh as well. But immediately Sin get the counter pick for that support matchup. Tahm Kench has been locked in. They're hovering over Jhin, which has been rising slightly in popularity, and they lock it in.
I mean, Jin's good. Since the changes of Static Shiv, stacking with the Rapid Fire Cannon, I don't think there's really much behind the mystery of why Jhin started to rise back into population. You fall behind, you can go Essence Reaver. If you're ahead, you can rush Infinity Edge. There's just so many ways you can play the champion at the moment. We've even seen some lethality builds, although I'm not a personal fan of it. So versatile, and has that engage tool out of the 80 carry.
We get Gragas being locked in for Avant Gaming as well. Sybil should be taking that into the jungle. That denies another pick away from Juves, and Kha'Zix is the first ban from AV. So a lot of jungle bans being thrown towards Juves' way, whether he likes it or not.
I mean, now you can just ban whatever the heck you want, because you know that Triple is going to get counter pick. They're probably going to lock in Blinky's 80 carry, and Juves is stuck in a very bad position. I mean, what's that? 5 jungle bans, 2 of which were thrown out by his own team, and no priority put on that portion of the map. Is certainly not setting up Sin's jungler for success.
And Sin may have given you what you wanted, Spawn. They banned out Ashe and Varus, so most of the utility-based 80 carries are gone.
Told you we'd
and
play
there
Kalista.
we go. Kalista locked in with Thresh in the bottom lane.
I mean, you can see this coming from a mile away. They've already got good engage tools. They've got good utility. All they need is someone that can really brawl with the Renekton during the mid-game. Kalista is definitely that 80 carry fish and has quite a nice landing phase into what is a Tahm Kench as well as the Jhin, because you whittle down Tahm Kench, you don't pull the sticks out until you know the grey health starts ticking away, then you're able to take over. Ooh. And then Olaf jungle.
Locked in for Juve, so not much crowd control coming out from Sin, but I do like the Olaf combo with the Galio. And Talia's been locked in for Rama as well. Yep. I know you
really
charge
like
on in, you're really reckless, you can't be stunned, and Galio just pops on top of you, gives you damage reduction.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps you alive for much longer, but it's going to be very hard for anyone to catch the Kalista, is all I'm saying. Already got a Lantern, got a lot of front line that's going to stop everyone else but Galio charging through. True. And yeah, I think Kalista is a little bit more than a Galio is going to be able to handle. Also builds very nicely into QSS, so don't think going to be all that much trouble getting out of, you know, the single taunt / knock-up that's going to come out of Galio. Blinky should be very safe in this team composition, and they have a lot of consistent damage.
I do like Sin's intricacies in their team composition here. It's very unique. But AV, they've stock standard at the moment. Really good zone control, great front line, as you mentioned. They picked up Echo as their final pick as well, which is one of Triple's comfort picks.
I mean, it's also a really smart pick, because when you look at Sin, they're probably not going to be able to 5v5 team fight. They don't have enough set up for it, apart from, you know, wall, get Galio and Olaf into the back line.
Yep.
So the last thing they had was 1-3-1 and collapse with the Tahm Kench going to a side lane or Talia being able to go back to the mid lane. Echo shuts all of that down. You can no longer 1-3-1. Echo will be able to have kill threat on either side wave, and I think Avant Gaming has really taken this draft.
Yeah, they certainly have. I mean, 6 champions taken away from Juves in this game. He's pulling out Olaf jungle. I don't think I've ever seen him play that champion before.
I think he's played a couple of games on it.
It's going to be really curious to watch him play that one. He's normally defaulted to the Kha'Zix, which hasn't been very popular amongst other teams.
Was also banned away.
AV decided to ban it away.
Yeah, so I think that Olaf was one of the last junglers left available. Potentially could have gone towards Rengar, although right now I don't think Rengar has much chalk either. So they certainly hit the jungle pool hard, but that's what happens when you take away 2 junglers yourself and don't put any priority on that situation. They wanted to be able to pick up the Jhin. They wanted to be able to pick up the Tahm Kench, get themselves a winning bottom lane. And time again, for me, Sin is turning into Ryoma FBI Rogue and losing sight of what made them strong last split.
Yeah, especially when we used to watch Sin play with Rhymeister as well. Juves in his back pocket is a very top/mid lane centric team. Very curious to see how they've shifted and if they can adapt to that heading into split 2 of the 2017 OPL. For now, though, let's check in with Bensel to talk a little bit more about Sin's draft.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Bensel, and I want to ask about the jungle bans. 2 from you guys, 3 from AV, and no Rek'Sai. I mean, talk us through your picks.
Well, we expect Juves to get targeted a fair bit. So for this week, we practiced a lot of Olaf, and they let it through at the end, which was, you know, good for us. But we think Sybil's probably the most explosive player on the team, so taking away stuff that he can impact the map early with, and obviously his Zac as well is pretty scary.
So what do you see as the win conditions for your comp then?
Well, we definitely out-team fight them. They'll
Yeah.
be looking to set up a 1-3-1 with Echo in a side lane, which will struggle to match late game once Echo has his Void Staff and Galio can't match him anymore. But you know, as long as we can keep forcing fights early and maintain the tempo of the game, then we'll do well.
Excellent stuff. All right, well, thank you for speaking to us, and best luck in the game.
Thanks.
I always like when we get to check in with Bensel, because no matter what, no matter how funky a draft looks, he always has a reason behind it. Seems like Juves have been practicing Olaf for quite some time, and good to see that they're really respecting Sybil on the AV lineup.
Yeah, I agree with the Sybil respect. I also agree that they spike earlier into team fights. So I think that is definitely good. They're going to have a definitive tank. This is going to be cute by Ryoma. He's going to take all of them.
He got 4 mini Raptors.
That's really nice. All of a sudden, with Q, Sybil is going to really struggle to do anything in that lane. And all of a sudden, the shove that comes out of Triple isn't all that important. So nicely done by Ryoma. Very smart mid laner.
He literally only lost to 1 minion mid as well, so he's been able to tick 2 before Triple. Juves hits 2 nice and early with his own Raptor clear, and Sybil, as you mentioned, still stuck level 1 here, battling out against the red buff.
Yeah, and this is going to take a while. I mean, we can sit here and watch. He's probably going to have to smite away this camp as well. It's not how you want to start on a Gragas clear, because he generally is one of the quickest when you're able to get Q and W. But at the same time, it's not the end of this world. We'll be able to... Oh, that is the end of the world.
1 hit point. Sybil loses control of red buff. That's a disaster. He's probably going to have to go back to base here. I don't think he can actually fight this anymore.
No, he can't. I mean, he knows it. We know it. He hasn't responded accurately towards it, but all of a sudden, any early game impact that Sybil was going to have is gone down the toilet.
That is gone. Absolutely. Sybil not going to have a good time. He might not even be able to do wolves here. He might be able to take the small ones.
Nah, he can do wolves. He's got smite back.
Yeah.
So he'll be fine in that regard.
But what are they meant to do in that situation? Is Series meant to run up and tank Talia?
He's not supposed to... oh, well, the Talia bit's just actually a heads-up play. I mean, she shouldn't get that closer access. What actually should have happened is Sybil shouldn't have reset his red buff. He should be level 3 right now. Should be probably half a camp behind you, but not the full camp behind that he is. He's actually 2 camps behind. He's so far behind.
Okay, not a good start for Sybil at all. Seems like he's going to move down towards the... well, he wants to go towards Scuttlecrab, but for level 2, Gragas is going to head back to base.
Versus level 4 Olaf, and Olaf is one of the quickest clearers of the jungle, so you can see that certainly looks comfortable right now.
I think the only saving grace for Sybil right now is that Juves does not know that this has happened, because Juve can walk straight into Sybil's jungle and take everything on the top side if he wanted to. But because he doesn't know that Sybil has messed up his red buff clear, he can't do just that, but will still farm quite safely.
Yeah, certainly will. Sybil goes back, gets his second jungle item, resets also his potion, so should be able to farm okay at the moment, but is certainly not in a good position.
Good trade on the bottom side of the map. Blinky using the mobility of Kalista quite well, and a great hook coming out from Jake. Doesn't have Flay available.
That's fine.
But still good damage coming out from the AV bottom lane.
Yeah, fantastic damage so far from the AV bottom lane. You can see that there are roughly 7 creeps up, so even though Sybil is so far behind, 16 CS behind in fact Fish, the gold is completely even because mid lane has already shoved back. Bottom lane is winning very heavily in CS. Top lane is also doing quite fine. So Sybil, he's got 3 pushing lanes. He's not going to be able to impact the map the way he would like, but at least will be able to catch up a little bit in experience. And we talk about it a lot, but jungle catch-up mechanic, OP, you will probably still get to, you know, level 8, level 9 mark at the same time. It's just going to be a quicker level 6 for Juve.
Well, let's see if Juves can impact the game for Sin, or if AV are going to be able to play their lane safely from now. As you mentioned, every single lane pushing for them at the moment. We see the double ring start coming out from Triple. Already uses teleport to get back to lane.
Yep.
So AV have double teleport on the Rift as well.
Double corrupting potion. Sorry, double Dark Seal as well, not double Doran, of course, with the changes that went through on Doran. So once the potion duration buff, and you can see he just stays very healthy and topped up here. Rhyme has done a good job of keeping up in CS, and top lane also has to burn teleport right now. As Dockler goes back into series lane. It's going to look to freeze it up, Fish. Actually, no, he doesn't. He just clears it all out. I was going to say, that's not a bad move because you can probably cost Series a creep wave here. Series walked all the way back to his turret to be able to recall.
Would have potentially forced the teleport as well. Nice sidestep from Blinky in the bottom lane. Dodges out the captive audience.
Seems like they're forgetting about the W passive that comes off Kalista. Because time and time again, FBI is walking up for trades that are actually not good trades regardless, and taking the proc off Jake, which is starting to really hurt.
I'm not quite sure what Series is trying to do on the top side of the map. Jumps at Galio, uses all his abilities, and then just takes 3 damage.
Well, he did have his ultimate and was looking to maybe fight, but then all of a sudden they saw the fact that Juice had invaded on the top side, got 2 very deep wards, was pinged out by Sybil, so they reset the map. You can see that he's also only 5 CS as well, so a Rattacamp behind right now, which is pretty much what was taken off him at the start of the game. So good job to Sybil for being able to play catch-up. There's still that camp down, but not hurting as much as I thought maybe he should be.
You mentioned the jungle catch-up mechanics, and Juice has not been able to impact the map at all for the past 6 minutes. Again, he did not know that this happened to Sybil, so he thinks they're just farming against one another at the moment, which they are. He just doesn't know he has a slight advantage, and now even in level, Jews will still have a slight CS lead, but it's not going to be that detrimental anymore.
You'll also still have a slight experience advantage.
I mean, if they meet now, Sybil has an item advantage, very slightly, but still. An amp tome worth.
True. Still would not fight Olaf if I was a Kragus at this stage of the game. They want Series. Here we go.
Knockup doesn't connect from Dockler, but gets a taunt. Ultimate is used by Series immediately. Jew's going to try and come in. Dockler taking a lot of damage. He goes to the sky. Splash away coming out from the Renekton. Jew's trying to hunt him down, but he takes quite a lot of damage in return.
Yeah, that was a bad chase from Juice, and now the hook comes through.
Good eat.
Oh, I thought Jake might actually try and go in on that one, but instead they can see they're just trying to play towards the red buff. So getting some good counter jungling here, and Sybil actually is going to be quite fine.
Have a tweet coming in for Soul Strikes. Huge props to Pinch, drafting really well. Now it's time for the AV boys to execute. So far, everyone's executing quite fine. Sybil a few hiccups, but still doing all right.
Oh.
If he got that second proc at the time right, it would have been
quite
juicy.
Huge trade coming out. You can see that they actually want the gank here as well. Rhymer's still got double defensive summoner spells, and Sybil isn't level 6. He wants the Raptor camp. Juves is going to actually meet him there, so this is a pretty risky play.
They're going in onto Ryan again. Triple gets good damage down. Sidesteps the shove coming out from Tilia.
Here we go. Juves has been caught.
Jake and Blake are coming down as well. They lock down Juves. Immediately pops the Ragnarok. Sybil's going to try and chase on through. Jake gets the hook. Can he get the flay after Ragnarok? He can't. A little bit too slow coming up for them. They still get first blood inside of the Sin jungle. That's a pretty nice collapse from AV, but now Sin all collapsing as well. Jake's going to be the first one to fall from the AV lineup. FBI jumps in, gets eaten up by Rogue, trying to get him back to safety. Grey health being used. Blinky's in trouble. Gets popped. Double kill. Curtain call. And tap, 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 tap comes out from the Jin. Triple kill for Ioma. And Sin turned that fight around.
Huge play coming out of the Sin Gaming lineup. We said that they spike a little bit earlier. They used so much to kill Juves. And then the eat was on point. out of Rogue to be able to save his AD carry's life. Teamfight was on a knife's edge, but as we take another look at it, I mean, it was just so much overcommitment and a little bit of misplay there because they had to go too over-aggressive. That's 3 ultimate Qs to pick Juves up, and it just did not leave enough for the other 2 members.
Yeah. Roma gets a really nice shove at the back end of this team fight as well, pulling everyone from AB back in. Really well played by them.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 members left, really. I'm pretty confident you could hit that shove. It wasn't the hardest one. They had no summoner spells available. Really was all the work that had been done before that.
And Carbon said it best. You killed Juves first. The rest of Sin are just going to get angry and fight you back because he can just shot call. It's happened again, Spawn. I don't know what to tell you, but the prophecy is coming true.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that prophecy. Juves, especially on Olaf, can't afford to die first every fight. Needs to be a backline and threat, otherwise the Kalista will just continue to put in work. But now with 3 kills, actually onto the Taliyah, maybe can match Triple for a little bit longer in this game.
Yeah.
Plus, they're just getting angry. They're resetting everywhere.
They're losing patience with everyone on Summoner's Rift at the moment. Roma will eventually pick up this blue buff if he doesn't reset it again. But the gold is still relatively even. It's about 700 in Sin's favor, which is not too much, especially if AV can pick up this Infernal Dragon.
It can. I mean, there's no way you might steal it away. You have to kill them right now, and no one's in a position to do that. That is so many spears.
Ooh. We have a trade on the top side of the map. Sirius is forced to use the Dominus in a one-on-one trade against Dockler's Galio.
Yeah, that's interesting. Has backed so far away from that turret as well.
Juves is making his way up.
Misses an opportunity to be able to heal up off that creep wave, and now probably just going to die, to be
Juves
honest.
is going in. This is a straight-up dive. Taunt comes through from Dockler. Ragnarok being used by Juves. Dockler takes up the turret. Easy executed dive.
Yeah, that was actually really poorly played out of series. You either back away completely or you stay in the minion wave and hope you can get some health back. He does the in-between, sits underneath his turret and just hopes he can get some experience. Looking for FBI again, but they're not going to be able to find him because Rogue's right there. So early game actually going pretty heavily in Sin's favor.
The only thing that really separates these two teams is 1,000 gold lead currently that Sin have from their 4 extra kills. And AV picking up the Infernal Dragon. I mean, it's good to take it away from Sin, especially with FBI picking up Jin this game. Stacks quite well on that 80 carry.
I mean, it's also just awesome for AV. They have pretty much everyone, apart from Jake and Sybil, that scale off the percentage stats that's going to be coming in. Triple is going to absolutely stack out on the AP this game. You have Blinky that's also going to go towards it. He's probably going to look for at least double, if not triple lifesteal in the form of Blade of the Ruined King into probably what will eventually be a Merc Scimitar. Jake, good roam mid lane.
Yeah, gets right behind Roma. Triple uses the ultimate to get back on top of Taliyah. Good shove. Roma's going to try and run. Death Sentence just misses from Jake, and Roma says, see you, mate.
Teleport actually come in from Dockler as well, so a little bit of miscommunication there because Ryoma was out by the time that the teleport came in. Probably should have been a cancel.
See, they're just trying to play it safe there, Sin. And Ryoma does get out. This is not forced to use any summoner spells. So Storm made a surge actually to give him that extra bit of movement speed to escape Jake's Death Sentence.
I mean, he didn't have any summoner spells. Heal wasn't available when he was actually going for that play. Series is playing this lane pretty poorly, Fish.
Dockler is just trading aggressively against this Remington, not something you usually see from Galio. He's even picked up an Iceborne Gauntlet, but now they've caught out Rogue roaming inside the jungle. Blasts him back inside, deeper in towards their jungle. There is Splash available for him, gets over the wall. FBI tries to trade nicely. Box was used by Jake as well, but Rogue will get out of there.
Yeah, that's actually really nice because they burned the flash because that shouldn't have been the play. Heads up to hit the plant and send him back over the wall. You see, a little bit uncomfortable, both teams in this game. Maybe some nerves. This is, of course, a Gauntlet rematch where AV narrowly lost out to Sin in that last game. Fizz absolutely destroying people.
I mean, Triple was
one. Oh, that's so many sticks.
Triple was the one that gave Sin nightmares in that Gauntlet match.
Yep.
But as you mentioned, FBI getting great trade in the bottom lane against Jake. Juice spots Sybil and goes aggressive here. 4 members of Sin are going to collapse. Great shove over the wall from Ryoma. They lock him down. Easy kill onto the AV jungler.
That is 5 members in the bottom lane. This is what we said their team comp is very good at doing. Collapsing towards the lane, making sure that all the members are there. They're going to look to pressure out this turret nice and early. Yep. Pushing into an Echo at this stage of the game, unless you can kill him, really isn't an easy task, but we'll see whether they're able to make it work.
Yeah, because 2 more members from AV are rotating back up towards the mid lane. So Triple's cleared this one out nicely, and Series has got a good damage on towards this turret. Doesn't take it down, though.
I think that's an overreach. I think the kill is very nice. I mean, it resets tempo on the map. It allows Juves to keep farming on this Olaf. But I think actually extending towards the kill. Oh, Triple. Maybe dead.
Ryoma's now going to chase him down. Triple does have ultimate. Flashes away. Juves is just over the other side. Ryoma flashing forward. Wants this one. Forces the ultimate out of Triple and picks him up. Great pick from Sin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Triple was really thinking there, but as soon as he stopped the recall, should have been content. Look at the tempo they have on the bottom lane, being able to shove into the turret, chip that one out as well. Instead, not really going to be able to pick up all that much, give away another free kill. And the gold lead is starting to get quite serious, Fish. Up around the 2,000 mark.
Yep, getting close to it.
And when it is a 10-stack Ryoma Talia, the game becomes a little bit more difficult to win.
Yep, he's got 6,300 gold to the 5,200 that Triple has picked up this game. So already 1,000 gold up ahead of his opponent. Top side's dead even, slight advantage for Juves, and FBI is completely even with Blinky as well. So it's really Ryoma that's going to be dealing the damage in this mid-game team fights.
Yeah, I mean, it's Ryoma and Rogue that are ahead in gold. That's really all the gold advantage they have, just because CS everywhere else is starting to go in favor of the AV squad. So going for cheeky plays where you should just be looking to farm your way back into the game, use your late game 1-3-1, definitely is not the team playing towards what the strategy is right now.
Ryma's going to be able to pick up blue buff for himself as well. Donated over by Juves, who wants to head back to base, it seems. Sybil's quite up just fine in the jungle, as you mentioned, jungle catch-up mechanics, but he's still 2 levels behind Juves. Triple still being aggressive in this mid lane. Ryoma gets another good shove, throws him through the rock field.
I mean, the thing is that Triple's still got all the potions as well as the ultimate. So those trades are winning trades for him, as long as he doesn't fall down. Death sentence hits.
Big hook coming out from Jake, but that's why time catch is so popular in this lane. You just eat him up, spit him out, and now look for the lockdown. Jake is stuck behind the Weaver's wall. Blinky's forced to flash. Curtain Call comes out. They'll throw out Jake to pick up the first kill, and the crit comes out as well. Ryoma gets another double.
Here we go, collapse in the bottom lane. 3 members are here.
Let's see what they can do. Immediately destroying Triple. He just got Jensen right there.
Yeah, he certainly did. Tried to dive through, hadn't even used the ultimate. Just was not enough health, and all of a sudden, Sybil's in big trouble.
Gets exhausted before the knockback comes out. He's still trying to waddle his way away, but FBI aggressively forward with the captive audience. Perfect execution from the AD carry.
And we keep saying it, but this bottom unit of 3 members, 6-0-3 for Ryoma, 4-0-6 for FBI, and 0-0-9 right now for Rogue. They actually used the flash on Doppler to stop that TP. If Series was able to get to that play, would have been completely different for the Avant lineup, but instead they lose out on first brick, they're going to lose out on an Infernal Dragon, and they're 4,000 gold behind.
And this is exactly what Benzel said. They're better at fighting early on in the match. They've done exactly that against AV to now, as you mentioned, 4K up, Infernal Dragon to Infernal Dragon. That's with a Jhin on their lineup as well. Looking good for Sin so far.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, the last thing you really hold your hat on is the fact that 1-3-1 late game should be very easy for AV to execute upon, but certainly has not been the early game they need to get there. And unfortunately, if Ryoma's this far ahead, I don't even know if 1-3-1 becomes easily executable.
Yeah, we already talked about how Sin are becoming, you know, Ryoma, FBI, Rogue, these are the 3 carry plays you're looking towards. They're doing fantastic. Dockler's holding his own top side of the map. Juves doing just fine in the jungle as well. Not those big playmakers you really need them to be.
Holding your own is a very loose term. I would not say losing your turret at 17 minutes in a lane that you've had a couple of ganks is holding your own. I'd actually say that's pretty poor out of a Galio. But at the same time, I mean, he hasn't died. He's doing his job. He's just farming up. He's going to be a late game super tank. That's what Galio does best. But still, there are signs that AV's top side of the map has a little bit of trouble.
Juves looking to start Rift out here, undetected by the AV lineup, doing it all by himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit strange that it is undetected because everyone is kind of in that area.
Blinky and Jake will head up to the top side of the map as well. You already have FBI and Rogue split pushing up there, looking to take down another outer turret for the team.
Mid lane's going to fall as well. Across the board now, Sin's starting to get advantages.
AVF said triple bottom lane to go up against Dockler and Galio. And Ryoma's just having free farm mid lane. He's going up against Series?
I mean, potentially they can look for a collapse here, but they don't have any teleports. Doppler's got his available. They've lost top lane. They're going to lose mid lane as well. This is going to be a 5,000 gold lead before they really know what's hit them here, AV.
And Roma having no troubles in this mid lane. Easily able to clear out the minion wave time and time again.
Mate, he's having the opposite of trouble. He's 6-0-3.
Lantry's Tournament already picked up with that Morel. Nomicon.
Going to go towards Banshee's Veil as his next item most likely. That's going to shut down a lot of the aggression that Echo is going to look to throw out. Sitting very pretty.
FBI's gone for the Essence Reaver build as well on his Jhin. Locks down triple, gets a good chunk of his health out too.
I love that trading pattern that you get out of Jhin. Throw out the first shot, make sure that gives you attack speed off the Warlord's Bloodlust, so you can chase through, get your CC down, wait for it to reset and continue the trade. You can see that FBI is certainly very comfortable on the champion right now.
Yep. What beauty truly is.
And as I said, that's going to be the mid lane turret falling most likely. That's not a cannon creep wave, so it's going to be cleared out very quickly. Jake's trying to get there in time. Will Lantern in the Echo as well, you'd have to think, but
Jake posturing
FBI is in the wings.
Gets a flame back, FBI dodges it.
I mean, look at where Ryoma is right now. Sorry, not FBI. Just sitting on the top side, waiting to use the wall, waiting to cut them off from the turret. If the turret falls, they can even go aggressive with it. There is next to nothing that AV can do to hold this turret.
Roma will rock surface his way back towards top side of the map, continue to clear up that big wave that is stacking up for Sin. 4 members of AV group up in the mid lane trying to defend the last tick of this turret.
Yeah, and I mean, not great wave clear yet out of Blinky because he hasn't got the Hurricane. And even when you do, you still need to have access to the creep wave to be able to stack up some spears. So you can see that really nice job so far out of the Sin Gaming lineup to get waves pushing in their favor. And they're going to look to take a 3-1 turret lead as well as 11 kills to just 1. The game's certainly not over, which is very strange to say because generally when a team is this far ahead, it becomes nigh impossible to win.
Let's see what they can do here. FBI is going for that turret kill. He's been locked down though. Galliot comes out. Rogue flashes on forward, but FBI dies immediately. There's going to be a 4-on-5. Good hook onto Doppler. Blinky is just kiting away everyone. Roma though will flash after and pick up that crucial double kill for Sid. Still alive somehow. Will eventually get shut down by Triple. No ultimate available for this Echo, but will still keep on charging forward. 3v3. Jake is really low. Still gets a great hook. Double kill picked up by Triple. That was poor positioning from FBI.
This is what I'm saying. Even though the game looks like it should be over, 13 kills for 4 now, 3 turrets down. For some reason, Sin just overstaying there. FBI dies with both summoner spells because both he and Rogue were in the stun field. Either that's really poor positioning out of FBI or by Rogue. Either of them could have saved the other's life there. And see that play again. So Rogue gets stunned up, and you can see that just means FBI gets completely destroyed.
Yeah.
And Sybil able to get out on the back end, pushes away Ryoma. Ryoma does start to get some good damage out on the backside of this map, but because the turret was picked up in the bottom lane as a response, this is a heavy victory for the Avant lineup, just through the shutdown gold, as well as the fact they got a turret afterwards.
Just almost feels overzealous coming up to them as well. No reason to step up to that turret. It was going to fall eventually.
Yeah,
and
just one Jhin shot would have done it.
I mean, they are the team that has the lead. They don't need to go anywhere. AV have to go to them.
I mean, now when you have a look at what the lead is, it is only a couple of thousand gold. Rift Herald going to be used. It was timing out.
Yep, and they have Rift Herald as well, so now they're going to look to see if they can get a single headbutt in the mid lane.
Oh, Ryoma's in trouble.
Going to get knocked out of the stun field. Very close.
That was centimeters off being a fantastic play. Sybil shows a little bit of frustration, actually goes back in. And now Triple
taking quite a bit of damage, gets a Dark Passage back to safety. FBI heals up so much health with that single crit shot in Warlord's Bloodlust.
certainly does.
AV looking to try and defend this turret again. Good damage. Ryoma gets eaten up by Rogue. Sybil body slams forward and finds nobody. Great damage coming out from Sin as they just poke AV off their mid lane in a turret.
And this is much better. I mean, look at the patience that's coming out in the play. Doppler was pushing top lane. They know that Rogue can just save them from the hooks, save them from any of the stun fields. They can approach, and now with that, they have access to the second Infernal of the game. There's no real way, unless you want to burn a teleport, to be able to contest this. It's just going down way too quickly. That's a much better setup coming out of the Sin line.
Fantastic from me. They abort the mid lane in the turret. That's almost down anyway. Ryoma just continues to split push bottom lane. He's 8-1-3 at the moment. Not the easiest Tillia to deal with. Triple is trying to make his way to the bottom lane, see if he could pick up a kill against Ryoma, but Rogue was close by.
Yeah, Triple probably needs to pick himself up a Void Staff as well, very early into this game, because he has a lot of the damage that's coming out. Using the double buff, probably... actually, Doppler was just off screen. So that's quite brave for FBI to step forward. If you don't kill Blister in first round, can become slightly painful to deal with. See whether we see any of the funky builds that come out, something like a more Malmortius.
Look, he's already picked up the Blaze Road King and Phantom Dancer.
Pull out all the Twigs Fish. Get all your health back.
Yep, and he did keep the Eddie Herring alive longer. I mean, it works well for Calista. She does more damage over time than she does up front first. She's going to continue to clear out wards inside of his blue buff. Or close to his blue buff, I should say. And Sybil's actually a level ahead of Tubes. Those catch-up mechanics are great, apparently.
I mean, I don't even know if that's a catch-up mechanic. I just think that's a little bit poor from Jubes. He's fallen a lot of CS down. You can see that they want to fight.
And there you go, Banshee Spell has been picked up by Ryoma. Good shot back. Blinky almost dies from that single combo. I think if all the rocks hit him,
Probably would have, yep.
we saw in the bottom lane, though, they've still sent Triple down to split push against Doppler. Both of them have teleport, but Triple's winning those trades easily against the Galio.
Yeah, and imagine when the Void Staff comes through and how much easier this is going to become. He also does fantastic damage to turrets, so it's not like you can leave him alone for a long time, Fish.
That's thanks to the Lich Bane on the AP he's picked up. Sybil will get caught out. Body slams in a straight line, so easy to be locked down by FBI, but they decide not to engage onto the tanky member of AV.
I think they're going to wait for Triple to get level 16, go back, grab a Void Staff, and then this 1-3-1 becomes impossible to deal with. Series in some trouble, though.
Flash
Good
is
flash.
very early. Still gets locked
has to.
down, but as you mentioned, good flash from him.
Look how much damage he took already. If he doesn't flash there, he just dies. Already, he probably has to leave that turret. And still on the bottom lane.
Series still looking to be aggressive here. Jake and Blinky will make their way up towards top side of the map. As you mentioned, bottom lane, Triple's doing fantastically against Doppler. No troubles down there whatsoever. But we'll head back to base.
Has
Seems
the
like he has
Void
a
Staff.
purchase, I should say. Oh, the gold is slowly getting closer and closer, though. It's 4,000 gold to AV and 44,000 to 46,000. It's only a 2,000 gold difference. 26 minutes into the match. It's getting very close.
Yeah, it certainly is. Hook does miss there. Sloppy from Jake. But you can see that they're actually looking to push mid lane instead.
Yep.
An interesting rotation.
3 members will group up. Ryoma is still pushing mid lane
I think
by
they
himself.
had that top lane turret. Now Jubes is caught. Has to use the ult probably.
Oh, knocked back before he can get the ultimate off. That's sloppy play from Jubes.
Certainly is. And all of a sudden the jungler of Sin has put this game really back in the balance because Triple's going to be able to go back bottom lane. He's going to grab blue buff on the way there. They're not able to break this outer ring, even though it looked like there was no wave clear in the top side of the map, Fish. They played towards Triple's lane, and Triple's probably the only strong member right now on the whole AV lineup.
Again, very poor form coming out from Jubes. They're dying inside of AV's jungle while the rest of the team was split pushing.
And you can see that Triple, even though he's up against a H1 and 3 Talia, actually is arguably ahead in items now. Has up 50 CS. And actually
Gold's close.
pretty close in gold.
500 separates Triple and Ryoma.
Up
That's
in
an
experience. I mean, Triple probably wins the fight right now.
Yep. I'd say that one level of experience is way more value than the 500 gold, especially level 16.
Yep.
His ultimate's going to deal much more damage, give him more health back as well. And Ryoma, you have to remember, doesn't have a damage-based ultimate.
Yeah, and you can see that Ryoma, he has the advantage of still just being able to go straight damage. Because there is no MR picked up so far on the lineup apart from a Spirit Visage out of Sybil.
Yeah, Series is not going to have fun against Ryoma until he gets that Gargoyle Stoneplate going.
Yep.
Locket has been picked up by both supports. Ooh, due to the changes, Blinky taking a beating there.
Is that a flash out of Jake? Yeah,
Yep.
it was. I don't know about that. I think he probably should have just used his ultimate to pull him out of the fight.
Whew. Still taking a beating in this mid lane. Sybil gets locked down by Captive Audience. Sin making sure they continue pushing somewhere to relieve pressure from Doppler on the bottom side of the map. In fact, there's a collapse coming in.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably dead already. 2 members.
Let's see what Triple can do. He's moving back away. Doesn't dodge the taunt. Field will get knocked up, knocked back. Ultimate's out, but only gets the shield. Still trying to run them around the map, though. Jumps out to a ranged minion. Weaver's Wall comes through. Ryoma jumps over. Easy pickup onto Triple.
Nicely done. I mean, and there's no real engage in the mid lane. You can see the series went in, got absolutely punished for it. Ultimate still available out of Sybil, Blinky, and Jake. So I don't know what happened there. And they're going to lose potentially 2 turrets here at the same time, Fish.
They moved bottom lane, abandoned their fight in mid lane, trying to defend that one instead. 3 members of Sin continue pushing forward. FBI and Rogue and Tubes working together to take down mid lane inhibitor turret. Ryoma looking like he wants to try and cut off Blinky. Might actually find him cutting through. Instead takes the base gate, gets him! Blinky's being caught! Great pick by Ryoma.
Yeah, and Blinky still has flash. Mustn't have flashed the shove. Because all of a sudden falls down. No wave clear now available whatsoever. The only wave clear is Sirius diving into the creeps. And that is not what you want to be able to do against Talia. So another turret will fall down. All of a sudden what was becoming a 2,000 gold lead is now back out to around 4 or 5. And they're looking to break the base turrets.
Again, no excuse for Blinky. They're taking the cheap way to this mid lane. Instead of going through his base, went through the gap between the jungle and the base. That was an easy pick by Ryoma. Now Sin going to continue pushing through. Mid lane inhibitor is going to get taken down quite low.
Wave is as well. Doppler gets hooked. That could be potentially their fight.
Blinky's up in a second. AV can look to try and chase forward. Doppler is fairly low. Triple's looking for the engage. Doesn't get it. Gets a big shield instead though.
Top lane turret needs to be dealt with.
That's going to be taken down by minions all by itself. Now Sin, 6,000 gold lead for themselves. Double Infernal Drake. Setting up the map quite nicely. A single inhibitor has been taken down. Only 1 outer turret is remaining, and that's in the bottom lane.
And you have to question this Renekton pick. I mean, it's really the only pick that I don't like in the competition. I've already touched on it briefly, but when you... Juves isn't having a great couple of weeks. When there's been 20 kills on the map and you've only been involved in 5, as Carbon would say, at least dying is doing something. He just hasn't been all that relevant this game, Fish.
No. It's Renekton's such an interesting champion right now because he does fine in the lane. He's okay in team fights, not great at split pushing, but he's a champion that always scaled well early. Didn't do much late game, and he's now a champion that's a 3-item champion, which is kind of mid to late game. So he doesn't quite fit the meta, in my opinion.
I mean, that would you call this late game. I mean, we're 31 minutes in. He's just picked up 3 items now. Got the Gargoyle Stone Plate. Problem is he's not winning the split push, which means they have to send Triple to deal with Doppler. Unfortunately for Renekton, he's never going to be able to deal with a 10-1 and 3 Talia. And Ryoma's having an absolute field day around some of this. In fact, I think that when we check out the damage done in this game, FBI and Ryoma are going to have done 90% of their team's damage.
Probably. Maybe even more. Tubes has been in 3 of these kills, 3 of the 15 kills the team has had.
What are you doing, Siri?
He's going to get locked down. Does have flash dominance is used as well as the Gargoyle Stone Plate. Eaten up by Rogue. Knockback will now flash away. Gets a dark passage to safety. Weaver's Wall doesn't separate the team well enough. Still looking to go for a fight here. Captain Gold is locked down. Jake, good juke shoes coming out from Ryoma. Forces Blinky to use the ultimate as well. AV lose so much just from poke coming out from Sin.
Yeah, exactly right. That wasn't even the hard commit from Sin. They used the ultimate in the end to get some more damage, but they're actually looking for this turret.
Shoved back onto Sybil. He's going to get chased down by Juice. Galio just jumps up in the air, comes back down, says, "Hello team, I'm helping. I'm doing something. I pressed R." AV just can't quite defend against Sin or continue to push. Triple is trying to do what he can in the bottom lane, forcing Doppler back at least. It might save this inhibitor turret.
Yeah, it certainly will do a good job of keeping them away. Honestly, you probably can't even just send one message at the moment.
Triple is going to be able to take this inhibitor turret. That's gone down. Doppler has to be a little bit careful. Triple does do quite a bit of damage.
But you can see where Ryoma is. I mean, the reason they're looking to fight is because, one more time, Ryoma is collapsing onto Triple. And if they can't start a fight elsewhere, this is just going to continue to punish.
Here comes Tommy trying to scout out Triple. Throws out the shove early. Triple is just trying to juke his way around the map.
He's
finds him.
to the lantern, actually.
There's a lantern there. Flashes to it. Gets away. Jake gets him back to safety. Ryoma might continue pushing, though.
Yeah, certainly looks like he wants to. I mean, if that is a little bit later in the game, there's a potential that there's time to start up Baron because of just how much damage Kallista's going to do.
Yep.
Problem with that play is mid lane inhibitor was gone, so super creeps were in the mid lane. They couldn't go do Baron.
That's still a really good play from AV, though. They had no flash, no Gargoyle Stone Plate, no ultimate from Series. Blinky and Jake were in a difficult spot. Sybil was already forced to flash ultimate away.
Yep.
And they still defend the top lane inhibitor turret against a Sin liner that looks unstoppable at the moment.
Especially within the siege. I mean, they've got so much zone control that come out of both Doppler as well as Ryoma, and then FBI is just able to, with that rapid fire cannon, as well as the Infinity Edge, so much damage to the turret.
So you can see Locker is being picked up by Series next. That's going to go well with the Gargoyle Stone play and all the health he gets from Dominus, from the Titanic Hydra Black Cleaver combo.
They're in love with this idea of ganking triple. I mean, he is definitely one of the most important members on the map right now. But I'm not sure that this is the most high percentage play. I think that if you just force them to fight you, you're still in a good position to be able to take it, Fish.
I might just do that. Sibyl's already got to save the way. Gets Dark Passage back to safety. Series is somewhere else across the map, getting engaged upon by Doppler.
Here comes
Roma.
Blinky and here comes Triple.
Looking to try and go for this fight. Roma taking a lot of damage. Blinky doesn't flash on forward. Rogue is teleporting down with his ultimate. Blinky's now caught out. Captor's Audience connects. Knocked out by Doppler. Will take the Dark Passage out. Juice is charging on forward. Has Galio in his back pocket. Gets the Ragnarok. Strikes down. Jake is the next target. Triple is now abandoning his mission. That's a big crit from FBI, who gets another kill for himself. AV lose 4 and Sin are going to try and push for the win.
And it just did not look like they wanted to hard commit, and then Sin are able to turn the fight on its head. Fantastically played by both Ryoma and FBI again. Sybil can't get back to base. In fact, he's just going to wait this one out in the forest with Rogue, have a little bit of a picnic, and Sin will take game 1.
Oh, Rogue, he just wants to stand there and have a good time. Don't fight him. He's going to finally try and head back to base, but it's too little too late. Sin fight the early game fantastically against AV, yet that's the action we want to see, not the Nexus being exploded here. And with their early game action, especially with Ryoma going huge in this game, Sin will pick up the first match against AV.
And honestly, you have to look at that game as a Avant supporter and think, what the heck went wrong? Why were we so sloppy in the early game? Because giving Ryoma 10 kills on any champion, let alone one that impacts the whole map the way Talia does, is pretty inexcusable.
Yeah. And we even had coaches like Soulstrikes tweeting in saying that Pinch has done a fantastic job with the draft for AV. Benson was very confident, had everything lined up for the team, said they have to focus on early game skirmishes. They did just that and picked up the game. But again, Ryoma, 10-1 I think it was, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, we were criticizing Juzel at that game, but Series has not had the start to the OPL split 2 that he would want. I think that when you have a look at what he should have been able to do in that matchup versus Dockler, he took the turret early, but there was never really any kill threat up there. Wasn't able to get around the map with the teleport, wasn't able to shove up. I mean, there's just so many things for AV that you look at, and I mean, Triple can't do it all, unfortunately. And I mean, Sybil had a horrible early game as well. I mean, that game was legitimately on Triple, and unfortunately, he was playing 1v3.
Yep, it was a little bit unfortunate. I mean, there was just so many errors coming out from AV, all the way from the very early jungle start that was absolutely demolished coming out from Sybil, as well as the Ryoma in the mid game that actually destroyed the AV lineup. But with that, that's game 1 going to Sin. Let's throw it back to the analysts to break down that game further.
Thank you, Fish. Thank you, Spawn. A very sloppy game from both sides in that, but Sin able to take it away. Choo-Choo's, give me your initial thoughts having watched that one.
I disagree with everyone thinking that Sin drafted poorly. That was quite an old composition. Jin Talia is like an old combo, and I think that they showed it really. They played it really well this game.
Tiga?
I think it's difficult to put any of that game on the draft because both teams just made a lot of mistakes. Sin capitalized extremely well off the mistakes, but it's really hard to just look at them. We can look at them on paper and judge them just based on their merits.
If they're being played by perfect robots.
But from how it was played, I don't think the draft really mattered too much.
I think that the only real big mistake that Sin made that made them not win the game faster was when they wanted tier 1 mid tower.
All right, we'll get to that replay in a second.
Okay.
Hashtag I am OPL. Let us know your questions, and I will throw them to our analysts for you to answer them. Let's take a look at this first replay, though, Choo-Choos. And this is the one you're talking about. This is the fight in the blue bot side jungle, which I think is the first time Sin really take control of the game.
Yep. So in this replay, they believe they've caught Juves out. Jakey makes a really good hook here and has the right idea to hold his flay, but does it a bit too early. That eventually makes them overextend and their bot lane collapses with Tarm ult, and Talia just thrives in this kind of environment, So I think it shows Talia Jin in these close quarters. Jin opens up with his ult here, and they just chase everyone down.
But why is this so important for the game?
I mean, their comp, Sin's comp involves getting an early lead, and with the early lead, it's pretty simple for them to win this game out. They could have made the bot lane dive a lot earlier, knowing that their summoners were down. Thresh and Kalista didn't have flash. but I believe they wasted wall. Tommy Roma got caught mid, and they weren't allowed to make that play until another 5 minutes.
Yeah, they also burnt the TP mid as well from top when that
That's right.
happened.
Our next replay, Tegan, I want to talk about is the mid lane team fight that Chushu's alluded to before. And I mean, this is sloppy from both teams. And if Sin were able to take this cleaner, I mean, they could have really taken the game at this point.
Yeah, we were saying upstairs that Sin had all control of the game. They get the tower, and they get a great Galio ulti. When this happens, you should never even be in doubt of losing a fight. But it just progresses and gets worse and worse. Ryoma has to flash in to finish off Blinky and then deal with Jake after. When all of your damage is in one champion, and that champion goes really deep with no real way out, Tom had already eaten someone earlier in the fight, once they're dealt with, you really have no power behind you, so you can see they're all getting out. FBI is also dead with both sums up. That's a bit sloppy. And I think you said it best was, if they lost the game, it was going to be on FBI because of what happened just there.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't want to put all the pressure on FBI.
No, because they won anyway, so you're fine. You're allowed to go hard because they won anyway.
But I'm just saying, the guy got baited by the tower, and he needed a flash. He needed to think faster.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at this draft, shall we? Because I'm keen, because there's been a lot of talk about this. Your former coach, or current coach, I guess, Soul Strikes, said that it was a great draft from Pinch. You disagree?
I disagree. I really like Sin's draft. I'm a big fan of Jin Talia. They first picked Galio. Knew that AV was going to take Thresh away first rotation from Rogues, but they had the Tarm prepared. Their bot lane Tarm Jin was very good into Kalista Thresh, and also Talia really works well with Jin if you want to set up a bot lane dive. So essentially every team fight they had would involve Galio ulting on Olaf, and then they had such a massive front line that they couldn't ever reach the Talia or Jin. And I think they played the comp really well, besides the one miss TP they used mid.
I think while they have their merits in their comp, they fall off so hard that if AV managed to not lose horrendously for the first 20 minutes, which they did, they have the game in their hands. Olaf is traditionally quite useless late game. You were saying upstairs, Talia is probably one of the worst scaling mid laners because she just doesn't do as much damage as the rest, and her ulti is more utility, not damage, like Orianna, like Syndra. So if AV managed to get to 20 minutes slightly behind, they still would have been able to win and deal with the 3-lane pressure that you were talking about, having Galio, having Talia, having Jin and Tarm off in a side lane. The biggest problem was, in my eyes, it just fell apart. They were down at one point they were down 10 kills, but only down something like 3k gold. So they were still managing it, but I think it got in their heads and just kept getting further and further away.
So something that interests me about this draft is the AD carry picks that we both sort of talked about as we were going in. We said, look, Jin is making a comeback, and we said, look, do you want to put Blinky onto a Kalista, onto like a hyper carry type thing, champion? Do you think Blinky is playing the Kalista because they banned away the Ashe, or do you think they were planning for this? I mean, when you look at the way they played that game, did they look comfortable playing around a hyper carry?
It's definitely something they've practiced.
Yeah.
It's definitely, like, Thresh Kalista is a really old, like, traditional combo. And it's definitely something they had prepared for today. Sin bans the Ashe, Varus, all the utility champions that Blinky's known to play. So they pushed him onto this Kalista, and he played fine. He had a pretty good laning phase. This game was not his fault at all.
Yeah, I think a big thing to look at, since we were talking so much about the draft, is I think this was very deliberate to leave the ADC, bait out the Ashe Varus ban, and go with the Kalista anyway. I don't think there was any point where they were thinking of not going Kalista. So if we look at just that one small part of the draft, that's a big win for them, is wasting essentially 2 bans from Sin as well.
Well, one of the reasons Sin were able to take the game is, like we've spoken about, the early lead that Ryoma was able to get. So I want to look at his stats alongside FBI's, because I heard Jake I heard Spawn, I should say during the cast that these guys would do 90% of the team's damage, which is not unheard of for an AD carry and a mid laner. That is so much damage.
That is a lot.
The big thing for me isn't just the damage that Ryoma did, but it was just the utility he was also providing. He takes chickens off Sybil level 1, which completely ruined his game. He had no idea what he was doing after that. And then he starts exerting pressure in other lanes. So while we look at the damage numbers and we're like, holy moly, that's a lot, especially for a Talia, in my eyes, it was just how much pressure he was able to exert in every lane, like we were alluding to before.
Yeah, I don't think they should give Roma Talia anymore. That guy's shown to be You know,
I know well about it.
That guy is too good at that champion.
And to be clear, that's damage dealt to champions.
Yes.
So that's not total damage, obviously.
No.
People watching at home might, you might think, oh, it's not if you include the minions and whatnot. No, that's just damage dealt to champions. So he's doing 40k damage in that game, which is monstrous. It is monstrous. So so if they ban that away, what does he go to next? I mean, we know he plays Orianna. We know he can play Syndra.
I think he'll go to Syndra.
Yeah.
I think he'll go to Syndra.
I would rather see him on something like Orianna or maybe even Echo himself. Something that lets him do much more in team fights than just blow one specific person up, which is traditionally what you take Syndra for. But it's hard to predict because he has such a big champion pool. You can't really sit there and say this is what he'll play, and if that's banned, this, and then this in a very flowcharty way. He has answers to most things, and he's very comfortable on a lot of champions.
I'm actually amazed at how little damage Juves did.
Well, I mean, Olaf falls off after 20 minutes, right? So he's not going to do a lot of damage in the second half of that game. And then, like you were saying upstairs, but on top of that, I mean, you've got 5 bans going to the jungler during the draft phase. So both Juves and Sybil aren't playing on champions.
Yeah.
They're preferential champions, presumably. And as a result, they're not going to look super comfortable.
I mean, there's something to be said about that, about just not being comfortable, but also a lot of the early game was Juves getting caught,
Quote-unquote.
and then they turn around the fight.
Yeah.
Talia comes in, kills everyone. Jin comes in, kills everyone. So he's there as just sort of a potato tank instead of someone that's brawling, that's dueling, that's doing damage over time.
That's actually a really good point. Juves didn't actually... No flame, but Juves didn't really do much that game. Juves really... Actually, he did nothing that game.
Well, I think that's a bit too far.
He
You could say he was-
got caught, and it turns around due to Jake's misplay, but then he also got caught like I think two more times, and that did happen to I think every single time it did turn in Sin's favor coincidentally. Yeah.
But isn't that what Carbon was saying? Once Juves is dead, hands off the keyboard, you can just shock call, right?
There's something to be said about saying he got caught, but I like to give credit where credit's due. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say he wasn't caught, he was just setting up a play, all right? It was all deliberate.
Baits.
He was never caught.
He saw it in the mirror.
Baits.
He saw it in the mirror.
He saw it in the mirror.
I need to get caught
Juves,
here.
The master baiter. All right. Cool. No? All right.
Okay, Hings.
I thought it was good. No, nothing from you guys. That's fine. That's fine. So what should AV do to turn this around and get back into game 2, do you think?
They just need to mentally reset. I don't think they're ever going to have an early game jungle go that poorly ever again. That was pretty much worst case scenario that you could even imagine. So
it was a crushing start.
yeah,
Like I don't know how Sybil was feeling. Like I know Sybil was quite has a good mental attitude, but that was probably the roughest start you can ask for.
Yeah? All right. So you think just don't lose race at
Just
the start?
don't lose wraiths. Don't lose 4 small wraiths level 1, and don't let your red buff restart.
All right. Hashtag I'm OPL. We've got a tweet from Medic for the Win who wants to know what time in that game do you think had Sin won the game? Because I feel like they should have won the game quite early, and then they threw it away, and then it wasn't until quite towards the end that it actually...
There was
they
a
were
point
turned
where
around.
you said where it was like roughly, I don't even know if it was 15 minutes in, that you were sitting there going, Sin have won this. It's a really simple game to close out. And then they obviously made a couple mistakes.
It's a very simple comp to close out.
A bit harder, but it's a hard question to answer. Do you answer it with where you expect them to be able to close it out for optimally? Because then it's a lot earlier than where it actually hit the tipping point and became nigh impossible for AV to contest.
I think when they made the first spot lane play, when they double killed Thresh and Kalista and then turned that into bot tower, I think that was when they won the game.
All right. Well, sorry, I kind of brought that up as we were talking about what AV can do to get back into this series. And Tegan, I caught you. I did cut you off there because that was actually the second part of Medic's question. So please do continue your point. What do AV need to do?
So, like I said, they have to just sort of mentally reset. The jungler is going to be way more effective in the next game. It doesn't even matter if he loses chickens again. He's not going to let the red reset again. So he won't be pretty much out of the game from level 1. On top of that, you had a great player in Triple trying to do his best to bring the game back, but you didn't really give him the ability to do it. You let the other team have a very powerful split pusher in Galio and another powerful split pusher in Talia. If you give them 2 very, very powerful split pushers and expect one person to deal with them, it's not going to work. So maybe try and work that around in the draft. They obviously expected Renekton to do a lot more into the Galio, and he just quite simply didn't.
Yeah.
So
That's on series.
I don't know if it's on series or on the matchup. Maybe they weren't as experienced in it as they should be, but they need to work out if they think Renekton is way better than Galio, which is what I'm assuming given how the draft went. I'm not so sure that's true. And I think maybe that's a point where they can sort of pivot, maybe either ban Galio or find a better counter to it to alleviate a little bit of the pressure off Triple.
Okay, then. Well, that is our analysis of the first game. But to get us to the second game of Sin versus AV, let's take a look at some highlights.
Gets the hook. Can he get the flight after Ragnarok? He can't. A little bit too slow coming after them. They still get first blood inside of the Sin jungle. That's a pretty nice collapse from AV, but now Sin all collapsing as well. Jake's going to be the first one to fall from the AV lineup. FBI jumps in, gets eaten up by Rogue, trying to get him back to safety. Great help being used. Blinky's in trouble, gets popped, double kill, curtain call, and tap comes out from the Jin. Triple kill for Ioma, and Sin turned that fight around. And now look for the lockdown. Jake is stuck behind the Weaver's wall. Blinky's forced to flash. Curtain call comes out. They'll throw out Jake to pick up the first kill, and the crit comes out as well. Roma gets another double.
Here we go, collapse in the bottom lane. 3 members are here.
Let's see what they can do. Immediately destroying Triple. He just got Jensen right there. Let's see what they can do here. FBI is going for that turret kill. He's been locked down though. Galio comes out. Rogue flashes on forward, but FBI dies immediately. There's going to be a 4-on-5. Good hook onto Doppler. Blinky is just kiting away everyone. Roma though will flash after and pick up that crucial double kill for Sin. Still alive somehow. Will eventually get shut down by Triple. No ultimate available for this Echo, but will still keep on charging forward. 3v3. Jake is really low. Still gets a great hook. Double kill picked up by Triple. That was poor positioning from FBI.
And here comes Blinky, and here comes Triple.
Looking to try and go for this fight. Roma taking a lot of damage. Blinky doesn't flash on forward. Rogue is teleporting down with his ultimate. Blinky's now caught out. Captain's Audience connects. Knocked up by Doppler. Will take the Dark Passage out. Juice is charging on forward. Has Galio in his back pocket. Gets the Ragnarok. Strikes down. Jake is the next target. Triple is now abandoning his mission. That's a big crit from FBI, who gets another kill for himself. AV lose 4, and Sin are going to try and push for the win. And it's too little too late. Sin fight the early game fantastically against AV, yet that's the action we want to see, not the Nexus being exploded here. And with their early game action, especially with Roma going huge in this game, Sin will pick up the first match against AV.